Happy Friday, beautiful people. We have finished most of the week successfully so far. Yesterday I had a conversation in a class, a meeting, whatever you want to call it, about publishing. I signed up for the class thinking it was going to be more of a, hey, let's market our books together kind of thing. It turned out that we had 6 people in the group online in the conversation, and one of the 6 had just published her first book. I was there with 15 years of experience and stuff, so a lot of the questions were pretty straightforward, but there were questions that it's like, what does a master carpenter say when you ask him how to drive a nail kind of thing? There's a lot of questions about how do I publish my book? I've been doing it for 15 years. I've published like 25, 30 books. I've published so many freaking books on so many different platforms. I literally don't remember which books are where. That's how many books I've published. When you're writing your book, you finish your manuscript, you've sat down, you've edited, you've read it through, you've listened to it on a playback. You know that the manuscript itself is quality. There's a series of steps that you're going to go to. Every platform that you publish on, when you publish your book, when you publish your work, when you publish your whatever, is going to be different based on the platform. The effective actions that you're going to need to take are going to produce a similar result. The similar result being your book published on some platform somewhere. Each platform is going to be physically different. Each platform grows and evolves over time, changes their requirements, changes their physical locations of blocks and what things look like. Instead of going through, put this in this block, press this button, that's not going to help you in 6 months. I'm going to be a little bit vague-ish and give you license and encourage you to explore whatever platform you are using. Caveats and legalese stuff aside. When you have your manuscript finished and you're intent on publishing, the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out which platform you want to publish, how you're going to publish. For example, if you choose to do the Kindle Unlimited, high-end, boosted Kindle program where you can actually advertise your book and do all kinds of cool stuff, that high-end Kindle program through Amazon is an exclusive program. It limits where you can publish your book. It prevents you from publishing outside of Kindle for, I think it's a year. You need to figure out which platform you want to use. And this is a stupid statement because it's so damn obvious, but you'll get the joke when I give the analogy. Go to the platform and read the terms of service. Read what you are required to do as a publishing author. Because that terms of service, those instructions, those guidelines by the publisher, be it Amazon, Smashwords, or wherever the heck else you're working through, those guidelines are going to tell you exactly what you do. When was the last time you read your manual for your dishwasher? Or did you just start using it? When you have the opportunity, I highly recommend that you sit down and just read the Amazon publishing guidelines. Because that's the biggest one. 95%, whatever it is now, of the market share goes through Amazon for especially books and such. Just read Amazon's guidelines. It'll help. It'll put the right things in your head, because when you step afoul of Amazon, it's costly. If you get your comp banned, you're done, son. You're done, son. When you have finished reading the publishing guidelines, your next step is to sign up with an account for that. And for Amazon, it's super easy. If you've already got an Amazon account for your business, because you're selling products or whatever, that's the account you use. Amazon is going to ban you if you run multiple accounts. You need separate legal entities. You cannot have Doug Franklin Amazon account, Douglas Franklin Amazon account tied to the same person. And you definitely don't want to be running the same books, because Amazon's going to tag you as a plagiarist and ban both your accounts because you're duplicate accounting. When you have that in mind, you can produce multiple pen names within your account, but that's a tomorrow thing. Sit down, you sign up for your account, you have your manuscript, you have your basic cover art. Good. Then it's just like filling any other online form. Just sit down, you read the instructions for what each block is asking you to provide, and you provide it. As you go through, you're going to have blocks that require more mental acuity than others. The block where you install your documents transcript is really easy. You just drag it, drop it into the hole in the page, and it processes, and suddenly you've got an uploaded manuscript. There are blocks where you need to think more, like your keywords, your description. Those kinds of things are typically where you're going to run up against the parts where you have to engage your brain. Your title is going to be your title. You can't change your title once you make it. You can't change basically the stuff that goes on the front cover. You're not going to be able to change without completely removing and reestablishing your book. Be 95% sure, go with it. When you set your transcript in and you've worked through those pages, you're going to encounter a series of questions. As you answer those questions, you're going to get better and better at answering those questions. I know it sounds stupid. You're going to get good at publishing by publishing. Your first book is going to be like shooting your first video. It's going to be like jumping out of your first airplane. It's going to be like your first kiss. You're not going to know how to do it. You're not going to know what to expect until you do it for the first time. Just get in there, take your account, sign up, read the documentation and what you're supposed to be doing, and then start working on your first book. You don't even have to publish a damn thing. You can just set it up as a draft and practice. The process of going through the publication steps is going to give you a solid outline in your head. Even better if you write it down, so bonus points for writing it down, of all the major pieces that you're going to need to bring in. The title of your work is easy. You should know the title of your story. You should know the title of whatever you're talking about, because it should be on the first page of your deal. When you pull that information, you're working through the process of putting stuff in to publish, those blocks that require the most thought, your back description, your personal biographical information, your keywords, those kinds of things that require the most thought, I put them onto a checklist of things to do before I publish. That's going to be different for you because you're different than me. We're not the same person. As you go through and make your list, your checklist of the things you need to do to publish for, that's going to help your brain work better, you're going to figure out the things, the organizational things are going to help you. And now you've got your organizational, your major muscle movements, and all the big brain kind of stuff taken care of. When you go through the process, you're going to do things like, you're going to have to set your pricing. Read the instructions. The pricing and all that stuff is going to be explained. The revenue splits, it's all going to be explained. As long as you have a positive number in the author split, your revenue on the book is infinite. Because if you are self-publishing a hard copy book on demand, it costs you nothing every time you sell. So if your costs are zero and your return is anything, your returns are infinite, because it's the whole zero divided by thing. If you're on a digital product, you're going to get an author share, and it's just going to go out, and it's going to be somebody else. Somebody else is going to carry the expenses of the Kindle or whatever they're reading on. So just don't worry about that. You can get obsessive about those things, and that's fine. If you want to get obsessive about it, spin your wheels on it. I don't. There's other things that I'll obsess about, but I don't typically obsess over the pricing. I typically aim to make $2 to $2.50 per book, and then I drive on and I stop thinking about it. If I can make $2 a book, great, because the goal is to make $150 a month each book, $500 a month each book, $250 a month each book. If you can figure out how much you can make each month per book based upon how much traffic you drive, based upon XYZ variables that you're putting into the system, that's going to make things super easy for you. If I need to sell 100 books this month at $2.50, that $100 a month, $100 is like 3 books a day, 3 and point something, whatever. It's too early in the morning. I've got beat up by too many big people today to do that math. But if you sell 3, maybe 4 books a month, and you're making $2.50 per book, that's $250 a book that you're making. If you're making $2.50 per book, times 100 books are sold, $250 a month per book. How many books do you need to have in order to make $2,500 a month? 10 books. The whole process of publishing, the angst of publishing, getting yourself all psyched out about publishing, just start. Just log in, make your account, turn everything on, and start the process. There's no point stressing yourself out about it, because every time you do it, you're going to learn and you're going to get better at it. So just start doing it. You weren't very good your first day of high school. You weren't very good your first day on the football field. You weren't very good your first day jumping over an airplane. You did it, and now you can do it anytime you want because you know what you're doing. The publishing process is the same way. Don't get yourself discouraged. Don't get yourself knocked down about it. I'm that master carpenter telling you just drive the nail, but just try it. Just do it. Give it a try. Work through the process. Read the instructions. Just take your time. You don't have to get nervous about it. Work through the process. The machine will correct you. Make your corrections. Learn what you got to do. Spend 3 hours fiddling with it. When you're done putting the pieces and parts together, you'll have done it. Once you've done it the first time, you get the courage by doing it. Once you're confident you've worked through, you haven't made any errors, the money you're making on all of your book sale columns is all positive, you've done it right. You can publish it. I understand there's the angst. Are people going to like me? You had those same hesitations the first time you posted on social media. You had those same hesitations the first time you did your first video. You had those hesitations the first time you walked into high school or wherever. It's the same thing. There's going to be good people. There's going to be bad people. Don't worry about it. Just get started. Your goal, publishing your first book, is to just do it. Once you've done it once, every time thereafter is much easier. Sometime later, I think I'm going to get into like the technicals of setting the book and doing the things like the QR codes and how to do all those specifics. I don't want to beleaguer the point, and I'm tired and hungry and I smell like a foot. When you're going to publish your first book, just sign on to the system you want to use. Read the instructions. They all have them. Figure out the terms of use. Figure out what's going to get you banned. Figure out what it's asking you to provide. Just go through it, sign up, make the account, start filling stuff in. Once you've started filling stuff in, make your list. Make your, however you do it. Learn the process and set those things to rights in your head. Each time you do it, it's going to get easier. I can take a full book from final draft manuscript through the publication process, 30 minutes. That's from opening and starting to type the name in through pricing and pressing send. 30 minutes to do it. It's not hard. There's a lot of pieces that go to it. But once you go through the process once, you'll get it. It's not hard. It's like filling in a web page. It's like doing your first video, doing your first social media post, sending your first email. It's the same thing. The angst is the same. The process is the same. The end result's a little bit different. Just relax, enjoy it, and do your first. When you've done your first, everything else after gets that much easier. It's raining on my once upon a time beautiful Friday, so I'm gonna go in and stop smelling like a foot.